Welcome. Good morning and welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show, trying to make sense of this crazy Arizona market. I was not live on Monday morning. My brother and sister-in-law were visiting, so I was playing tour guide. We actually went to a spring training game. What has happened to the prices of these games, for crying out loud? I guess they're making up for the lack of games that they had the past couple of years. They had a strike, we had COVID. But we went, they're from the Seattle area. So obviously we were going to, take a look and see where the Mariners are playing, but they're way up in Peoria, and said, well, I don't want to drive that far. But then we looked at the price, $119 a ticket. Remember when spring training used to be $5? $119. So we find tickets in Mesa Holcomb Park. Nice place. We see the Colorado Rockies are playing the Oakland A's. And they were $29 a ticket. Okay, let's do that. So then there's a spot on there where I bought the tickets that said, do you want parking? I go, okay. So I click on there and parking is $19. Boy, that sounds steep. Go ahead and get your parking pass now. I click $19. By the time they added a transaction fee of $8 on and some other kind of fee, now parking was $31. Oh, well, I'm not going to do this. I'll just go there and, pay whatever it is. We pull up, it's $5. What do you mean $5? Good morning, Stephanie. Good to see you here. So anyway, had a great time. It was nice. It was a cloudy day, which is kind of, nice when you're sitting in a stadium there. So what is going on with Arizona real estate? Well, obviously, everybody knows this. Interest rates are up. They're sitting there at an average of about 7.16 today. You can get lower rates, but that's the average. That's a survey that's out there, but it's a lot higher than it was last month for a lot of different reasons that we won't go into on this show. But what's it doing? It's interesting. I'm seeing comments going, well, inventory is really going up, and it kind of is, and it kind of isn't. If I look at my 7-day moving average here, see that blue line up on the top? That's new listings this past week. They're going down, but new contracts have gone up. Slipped a little bit yesterday, but that's a pretty healthy number sitting there at 3,100. We haven't been at 3,100 contracts for a long, long time. We were down to like 1,900 for a while. In our heyday, when I call heyday the silly season, 2021, we were doing about 4,400 contracts on a 7-day moving average. And if we go over to the left here, it's like apples to apples comparison. See that's where we were last year, and then it just kind of dropped like a rock as far as new listings coming on. It spiked back up again. So time will tell. We'll see what happens with this. Stephanie's got a question here. Says, what do you think of the new Southeastern Master Plan Communities of Radiance at Superstition Vistas and Blossom Rock? I was just talking to my brother about that when we were out tooling around that area. That's be very interesting. I'm waiting on the news to see if they have found a 100-year supply of water. This Friday, I'm going to be at a symposium. It's going to be a forum, and it's going to be on agriculture and farming and water. So I'm going to be in an all-day thing on that. Hopefully, I'll be able to grab some people that I can interview on this channel about what our current water situation is from people that really know, besides me, because I don't know that much. But I wanted to take a look at this. What is the mix of buyers we have? Now, I have subscribed to the Cromford Public Report. It gets more information here, and that's what I have. And that's a busy chart, and it's going to reload itself. But it shows, see that little tiny red number down here on the bottom? Those are iBuyers. They're pretty much out of the game. Are there water issues at these new developments? I don't think so yet, but the governor has said that she's not going to give you a permit unless you can show that you have a 100-year water supply. Now, some of these people already have the permits. They already did. I think when you get out there by the superstitions, that's probably a whole new ball game out there. But look at this. This is our investors 2023 here at 14.6%. We got as high as 21%. Those are the buyers. When we were in 2012, we were sitting here at 26.1%. So investors, not quite that hot last year. This is second home. 9.7% of the buyers were buying a second home. And then there's everybody else, 73.8 owner occupied. So these are people buying homes down here for either vacation homes or rentals. Not as big of a number as people have been kind of trying to get us to believe. If I look here at monthly home sales by transaction, again, here's new homes in 2023, 1,910. And again, that number is not really high when you look back at other years. This is the number that dropped like a rock, 3,045, which is just normal MLS sales. If you go to the silly season back here, we were sitting 8,261. And that's monthly home sales. So that's a pretty low number. Then I cruise over and say new home sales by price range. You got all this new construction. What's the price? Well, the average price is between 400 and 500,000. 6,653 is the number of homes that sold, and that is derived. Let's see, what is this? Updated through December. So that's a yearly average there. Then the last thing I have here for you from this public report. I hope you like this. Let me know in the comments. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I've been asked about this one a lot, and I said, I don't have access to it. Well, now I do. How many permits are coming? Single family permits monthly count right now, we're sitting at 2,720. Where is it compared to other years? Well, again, it was a lot higher in 2021 and parts of 2022. But the problem back here was, they had a lot of permits, but they couldn't get the darn houses built. They had supply side issues. So who's buying these homes? Here's an interesting article here. It basically says that retirement balances are at their highest in nearly 2 years, with a 20% jump in 401k millionaires. So these people are doing quite well. What really caught my attention here was I'm looking down here, and it says for Gen X workers who had invested in 401k for 15 years straight, the average balance topped $500,000 at year end 2023, which Fidelity says illustrates the benefits of consistent long-term savings. Generation X represents people born from 65 to 80, 1965 to 80. Isn't that interesting? 401ks, a lot of money out there, and you can tap into your 401k for a down payment too. There's programs out there for that. Here's where we are in active listings. Now, yes, they've gone up, and they go up at the beginning of the year every year. As you can see, gone up there, January, February, gone up, except for last year, because we still had the very slow sales coming out at the beginning of the year. But now we're kind of starting to flatten out a little bit. So are we going to follow these past year trends of declining, or are we going to somehow end up here? 15,200 is not that much yet. Normal, it's about 27,000. We haven't seen normal in a long time. I would suspect that normal's much higher than that, given our population growth now. So 27,000, I don't think would be considered normal. Stephanie here says, given today's interest rate of 7.16, I'm surprised to see the gap between homes under contract compared to listings. Let's look at that closely here again, because here's the interesting thing. That gap is so narrow. You can see it in my banner down below. It's like 86%. So it's all about supply and demand. So new listings are coming on, and 86% of them are going under contract. That's a pretty healthy number. And that is driven by the fact that new listings kind of dropped off, but new contracts didn't. Now, this is going to, I make the comment a lot, this is going to bounce up and down a lot like my EKG, but that's what we're looking at. So where is this going to go? I don't know. We're just going to watch. My prediction is it's probably going to flatten out here for a while and then start to drop. Sellers know interest rates are high too, so they're going to wait it out. Days of inventory is right now sitting at 78.9, and in relationship to other time frames, it's not alarming. We have been higher back in 2014 through 2016, so we're not seeing an alarming number there. So we're slowly plodding along, which I think I would be okay if we stayed here for a while. I don't like frantic markets. I think if we can stay in this spot, maybe we'll get some rate relief as we get into May and June. Rates are going up now simply because they kind of got ahead of their skis when the central bank said they were seeing data that looked like they may be able to start cutting rates. So they took that as a signal that said, okay, they're cutting rates. So the bond market reacted. Real estate agents reacted. Here we go. It's going to be a busy spring market. Well, guess what? It's almost spring and it ain't busy. It's not bad, as you can see from the numbers. There are still people out there that can purchase. So, when you read comments that go, nobody can afford it. Well, be careful. A lot of people can. And a lot of people are purchasing homes. And a lot of people are not having a hard time selling their homes unless you're just simply overpriced. If your home has been on the market for a couple of months and you haven't sold it, it's nothing more than price. It doesn't mean that your real estate agent isn't doing their job. It's price. I hate to say it, but that's what it is. It's price, or it's the quality of the home. Maybe there's work that needs to be done. People walk in and see that and go, yeah, I don't want to bite off this project here. Stephanie again says, in today's market, it's pretty hard to dismiss the new master plan communities given their buy downs and other incentives over resale. Yeah, I was actually surprised, Stephanie, when I looked at those numbers. I expected the number of new home sales compared to resale to be much, much higher percentage wise, but it wasn't. Let's see, what chart was that? Percentage of home sales by intended use. It doesn't break it down on this one. I'll have to find it another time. But yeah, they've got deep pockets, so they can buy down your rates and give you some nice incentives. But the challenge here in the Valley is that all new construction is either way out west or way out east, like the development that you just brought up. I was in East Mark this weekend. That place is huge. And I remember when that was just dirt. And so new construction is always in the outlying areas, and you've got drive till you qualify. Now there's some developer that just bought, I think they're planning on 400 homes down in Maricopa. And there's a lot of new industry and business that's going on down there. Casa Grande as well, although Casa Grande has been banking on that electric truck manufacturer down there that's kind of struggling. And honestly, I just don't see a future for electric trucks. They're too heavy, too expensive, too big. Can't drive them when they're cold. Don't get me started. I'm not a fan of that. I like hybrids, but I think these electric cars, I think there's issues, especially if they get wet. And you saw how many Teslas were parked in Chicago. They couldn't drive because they couldn't find a charging station that was open. And they're few and far between. And you can't go 300 miles if it's cold. You can only go about 150. So I'll get off that soapbox. And I only say that because you've got this big electric truck manufacturing plant in Casa Grande. Be careful. It may not be around in a couple of years. I don't know. Just speculating. The Taiwanese chip plant up in North Phoenix, getting ready to ramp up. They're expanding quite well. And you remember when we had a guy out here, Real Estate Mindset? He was out in Surprise in Peoria and going, look at all these homes. Nobody's going to move here. Well, that's where they're moving if they're going to work at the Taiwanese chip plant. And they're making the chips. They have to go in a package, right? Well, guess where the package plant's going to be? In Surprise. And it's going to be like 2,000 jobs, I believe it is. That's who's going to buy your new construction out there. And those new construction homes in Surprise and Peoria, they are selling at a very brisk clip. So don't believe these guys that are just standing in a new construction development looking and going, look at these, they're all sitting here. Well, they're not. Go in the office and ask them to look at the contracts and how many have sold. And you may be surprised if you just do a little research, my friend. I'm glad your YouTube channel is successful, but do a little digging. So that's what's going on in the real estate market here in Arizona. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at rick@rickhelps.com and stay tuned. I may even have an announcement coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be mixing things up a little bit, and that's about all I can tell you right now. So stay tuned. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.